Thanks for joining us on Canapino. My name is Peter. I have my lovely wife with me here, and this is the Canadian Filipino Cross-Cultural Connection. Yeah, sure.
That's right, sweetheart. Magandang po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Rowena. Mabuhay.
Indeed. Last week we were talking about our wedding and things like that. This week we're kind of moving into what sort of things we've adopted from each other's cultures and what sort of things we found strange or odd or superstitions or things like that. So looking at habits or things that in Canadian culture or Canadian customs that you've picked up. What are things that you picked up along the way, dear?
Oh, I have so many, habits. But when I came here and then I heard people are saying, it's a beautiful weather. They're so excited. Oh, what a weather when the sun is up and then good weather is warm. They will say, "Oh, what a beautiful weather! It's so nice to go out and enjoy the weather." And I said, "Oh, that's weird." They're very excited because I'm from the Philippines. That is, the weather is very warm every day. So
That's right.
that's why.
Whereas here in Canada, we've got about 8 months of cold weather and 4
I
months of
know.
decent weather.
Yes.
So you have to try and enjoy it as much as you can whenever it's there.
That's right, sweetheart. That's why eventually I realized, oh, that's right. Because when I experienced that, oh my God, when the sun's up already, I feel like, oh, what a beautiful day. It's nice to go out, and then, people, even strangers, you become engaged and you have a small talk because of the weather. No, that's the one I noticed. Even you bump in the elevator or somewhere in the coffee shop, they will say about the weather. And we're happy.
Nice day today, eh?
Yes, that's right. It's a beautiful day.
Ooh, it's a warm one out there today. Ooh, it's a cold one out there today. Ooh.
That's right. I noticed that. So I become engaged about that. So every time I go out in the elevator, I saw somebody, and then they will say hi. They're really
Engaged in the weather.
yeah, and approachable and very friendly. They're friendly. A small
Well, yeah,
talk.
they're
Yes,
good conversation starters.
that's right. So yeah, but in Philippines, you cannot really tell about what the weather today because always summer, always hot.
Well,
Other
I did notice that with the Philippines that, a lot of people is like, oh, mainit pa.
yeah,
Oh, sobrang init. Oh, Diyos ka po.
they are not friendly. They are more complaining. Sobrang init. Yes.
Yeah.
How about
Um,
you, sweetheart?
Things that I've picked up, I guess, along the way. Well, one of them, and we have to thank Sophie for that one, is
Oh no.
anytime I drop something or do make a mistake of some sort, it's aipoke or aipoke nalaglag. If I drop something,
I didn't teach him that one. Forgive me.
no,
He knows
that's all
already.
Sophie. That was all Sophie. Yeah, so Sophie is actually a roommate of ours who is a friend of Rowena's that she went to college with, who came to live with us. She started living with us, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so she's the one that taught me that, as well as some of the Filipino swear words that
Dear.
if I say any of them, Rowena's face turns red and
Erase.
so sometimes I use them just to see her.
I don't like the hot words. Yes, and then
You don't even like them in English.
yes. No, I don't swear. Yeah,
No, she's a
I
good
just
girl.
swear one time or 2 times when we get married. That's the swear.
And it was as soon as she saw me standing at the other end of the aisle.
Yeah. And what else, sweetheart? Do you have any more that you adapt
Um,
Filipino?
I don't know. I guess can't really think of anything else in particular that I've adopted. Is there something that you've noticed?
I noticed that when you go inside in our place, in our house, you usually wearing shoes.
Mm, that's right.
Yes, when you get inside, and I said, "Oops, what's going on?" From outside to inside, you're wearing.
Yeah, that's a very North American thing is wearing your shoes in the house. And not to say that all families do it,
Mm-hmm.
but predominantly, growing up in my family, I mean, especially in the summertime, you would come in from outside, you would just, walk through the house and you wouldn't bother with taking your shoes off. But now you're right, I've adopted that, and I tend to take my shoes off
That's right.
when I'm going
Yes.
into houses. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but I've
Yeah,
adopted it.
I was so freaked out when you're wearing shoes while you're cooking or what. No, I just exage, nothing like that. And
Yeah.
also one more thing I adapt. I think two more things, and I adapt. Having coffee.
Mm.
In Philippines, during my staying in Philippines, I don't really drink coffee outside. I just drink the typical ways, just in the morning. But in Canada, if you have friends or acquaintance, you're gonna say, "Oh, come and have grab a cup of coffee." That was the first time I ordered coffee in Canada, because I never really drink coffee in outside in Philippines. So when I
Even
drink,
even in
yeah,
Saudi?
Saudi, no, we don't have coffee shop
Really?
there.
Hmm.
It's just only typical coffee in at home.
Oh, I see.
So the first time when I ordered coffee, I didn't know how to order coffee, and then ahead of me was ordering coffee, and he say in Tim Hortons, and say, can I have a medium coffee, double double? Oh, that's very easiest order.
So that's what you started with, was a double double.
Yes, I
And how did
ordered
you
double
like it?
double. I like it. But when I realized eventually after many few months, and my friend said, "Oh, you can order three sugar or two sugar with three cream." So I tried
Or
that. I
or
explore.
regular or regular is just one and one.
Yeah. So I explored that after that.
Ah.
But yeah.
So did that change your default coffee from double double to something else?
But it's been a year. I was ordering double double. I like.
So you'd gotten very used to it.
Yeah. But I found I like one sugar only and two cream. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
That's my coffee. Whoever wants me to buy coffee, that's,
Whoever wants to buy you coffee.
yes, that's my
So if
preference.
anybody's looking to send a coffee to Rowena, that's the order.
Yes, one sugar and two cream. Okay. And then one more thing that I'm not really adapt or, but I like it, and it's at some point it's strange to me too. In Philippines, about food, if we have visitors or a gatherings, we have feast, like lots of foods. People are bringing foods, and I'm preparing a lot of foods, and Peter was really surprised. How many people you can offer? you, you invite. We just have five.
I know it always looked like you were having an army over. I thought you were very
And
much like my mother, because that's what she would do. It's like,
yeah,
there's four people coming for dinner, but she would cook for 10.
that's
But
right.
but yeah, and then I mean, still the thing with Filipinos is, even though you're going somewhere for like for dinner or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
everybody else brings food too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like every Filipino dinner is a potluck. That's what we called it here in Canada, is their potluck lunches or potluck dinner, whatever. So like everybody kind of brings something. Um, you know, uh, I thought that was very, interesting from a cultural standpoint. I mean, it's it's interesting because everybody has sort of their specialty, their one thing that they make
Mm-hmm.
really great. So usually people will bring that.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up with a real variety of foods, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. But yeah, the Canadian culture is a little
Yeah,
different from
we
that.
just have a small group, but the food are really overflowing. Because as a host, Peter and I will prepare everything, pancit, like nilagang bakal and everything. At the same time, they will bring something, so it's overflowing. It's a feast for us, but it's a small group, and it was okay. And Peter was really surprised that time, but I was surprised when he will, in his side. I was surprised he counted the people also. People, how many we have guests? He said six. So we will buy only six, I think six pork chop or six steaks.
Well, no, we'll usually get a couple of extras so that if somebody wants a little bit of extra, but yeah, usually you gear the meal around the number of people that are coming,
That's
and
right.
and it's really because of cost,
Mm,
in a lot of respects, as well as having like all kinds of leftovers. And
mhm,
in North American culture, when you have leftovers, it's great, but you don't want to have the same leftovers for days and days.
mhm.
But when you go to a Filipino thing, it can change how the leftovers work. So you end up with, whoever's hosting tends to send a lot of the food home with, the people attending the dinner, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's what we're calling Sharon, sweetheart. Sharon, the song's
Oh,
balutin. Yes.
oh.
Yeah,
I,
you
I thought
have
you were
to.
talking about somebody named Sharon.
Yeah, and this is the name Sharon. Sharon
Oh, yeah?
Cuneta is the song.
Oh,
Yeah, she sang that song. What is it? Balutin mo ako means like a plastic or cover me. So like it's like a ballot, sweetheart. Just a ballot that you put in the plastic bag or in the Ziploc, and you take away.
I see.
So mostly Filipino. That's the purpose also. So we're not really satisfied feeding them. You just give them more after they're going. So
I see.
so that's why we have lots of foods. And Canadian are very counted only. I was
Well,
so
there's
surprised.
there's really only one dinner that you go to where leftovers are sent home with you, and that's when you go for dinner at your mother's.
Yes, that yeah, mom is really my mother-in-law is really like that. Same as Filipino.
Yeah, mothers are always sending home
Sending
half
home.
of whatever's left or
That's
more.
right.
In my mother's case, she would only take out like a little tiny portion to keep for herself, and then the rest of it would go with the kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes she'd be taking stuff out of the fridge that was left over from her week last week.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was always a big thing. My mother would say, "Oh, eat this thing that's in the fridge, because I'm just going to throw it out." It's like, well, that's a real selling feature, Mom. You're just going to throw it out. That's way to really emphasize how great that is.
We're okay for leftover, mom.
Yeah, no, I think we're good.
We're good. Even 2 days, 2 weeks, it's okay as long as it's still
Oh man, but I
okay.
I I normally took them because my mom's cooking was so good.
Mm,
And of
yeah,
course, everybody loves their mother's cooking, so
of
you can never
course.
really you can never really get too tired of that.
Yeah. That's
Um,
why you refuse some of the food for the others because
mm,
you're looking for the mom's cook.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
And then, so that was one thing that you found odd about Canadian culture.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that stood
It's
out
kind
as?
of odd, but it's interesting too because it saves you a lot of y- money, the
Yeah.
budget.
Well, especially these days, budget is everything. Jeez, can put yourself in the poorhouse just having people over for dinner.
So that's why I learned from Peter about that. Yeah, so that's the one. That's the one I really in very odd and interesting.
So, talking about like different cultural things, what about superstitions? Were there certain superstitions that you found odd or strange or hard to accept?
Kind of weird. that one event every year that Canadian are really celebrating that event that I can't understand, but
Which
you get
is
along, which is the Grand Hug Day. I'm gonna say Grand Hot Dog. No, it's a Grand Hug Day. Hog
ground
Day.
Groundhog Day. Yeah,
It's a Grand Hug Day.
it
That
is.
you know,
It's
yeah,
strange enough that they made a movie about it.
yeah. You know that they're every year they're looking for the what is this that coming out of the barrel, the hug.
The groundhog.
Yeah, groundhog. Yes, yes. If they see their shadows, means they prepare for 6 months, weeks of winter. It's a long winter, so they're very disappointing. But otherwise, if they will see that groundhog, means the spring will be there soon.
So
That's
yeah,
right,
so the
sweetheart.
the sort of you're
Yeah.
close. If they don't see their shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. If they do see their shadow,
Oh,
then it
okay.
means that spring is coming.
Well,
So
if
yeah,
you can,
and
mm,
actually that's February 2nd.
February 8th
Is it
or,
8th?
or 2, I think.
Something like that. I can't remember.
February the 2nd, I think.
Yeah, you could be right. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's been the tradition, and I don't know that it's like I don't think people really believe in it. It's more just kind of a fun thing to do. I think it started as a slow news day, and they said we need something to fill about 45 seconds worth of time. What can we talk about? Let's talk about some groundhog that comes out and sees a shadow.
Yeah, everybody's standing and waiting for the Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I can tell you from my perspective, the superstitious stuff. I mean, like Filipinos have lots of superstitious
Oh,
stuff.
yes. Yeah, that's given.
There, well, like some of them, the one that's always a little odd is New Year's, and they celebrate with throwing change around. I mean, it's fine, it's fun, it's funny. I just don't understand it all that much.
It's
Plus
a
all
more
the
blessings, more money like that.
yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's
He said
the
they don't understand, but
well, no, but I know what the philosophy is of it, but
no,
it
okay.
still just doesn't make all that much sense to me. That's what I mean by I don't understand.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean that and all of the other stuff leading up to, like the preparation of your table, and you have the big bowl of fruit with rice
Mm.
and coins and money in there, and like all of these different things. And I mean, it's interesting, but when you don't come from that culture, it's hard to imagine, you know, having a faith in that kind of belief or that kind of superstition,
Mhm.
which is really the superstition element of it. But there was a bunch of other ones too that I always thought was funny.
What was that?
Well, that was when we'd be sitting having dinner, and after dinner we'd be talking, and if I sat like this, they'd say, "No, don't do that.
Oh, yes.
You're holding up the world."
Yes, that's right.
And then there was a few other ones. I can't remember them all now because it seemed like everything I did was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that because that means this. Don't do that
No,
because that's.
when the spoon or fork fell down on the floor.
Hmm.
Do you know that?
Well, there's different versions of that across different cultures.
Uh,
If you dropped a fork, there was a woman coming. If you dropped a knife, there was a man coming. If you dropped a spoon, it could be a man or a woman coming, or maybe a child, or
uh,
But again, in my family, we didn't really have those things.
mhm.
But I know a lot of other cultures that did, because I remember, being around some of them, and you'd be having dinner and somebody would drop a fork or a
Mm.
spoon or whatever, and you'd hear it. Oh, there's somebody coming,
Yes,
and I would
yes.
always just kind of go, well, I'm just not a very superstitious kind of person. So I guess maybe I just have trouble identifying with any of those things, but
And we're
it's okay.
joking about that when it's upside down, it's the downside when it drop the spoon, it says, "Oh, there's a pangit coming here." When it's when it's up, like
Right side up.
yes, right. is a pogi like that.
And for reference, for all of the non-Filipino people listening, Pogi is handsome, Bangat is
Oh,
ugly.
yes, that's right. Yes. Yes. And what else? What we have so many superstitious
I know.
belief,
Well,
Yeah.
there was actually one that I found sort of interesting, and it was like surrounding funerals and sort of some of the rituals with
Oh,
funerals, like
yes.
having a shower as soon as you arrive home from like the viewing and things like
Yes.
that. I mean, I get it.
Yes.
Again, because I'm not a very superstitious person, I've never followed those before, and honestly had never really heard of them until confronted with them in the Filipino culture. But I mean, it
Yes.
was interesting.
Yeah. And then also not the shower first. You have to go somewhere else first. We're calling pagpag. You know, you just what do you the English pagpag? Shake it off, shake off.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Shake
no,
it up,
you're
shake
you're
it.
asking me you're asking me for a translation from Filipino to English, really?
Yeah.
Talaga?
Well,
Way.
never know. Maybe you know already pagpag. Yeah.
No,
You
no,
just
that one I
shake
don't.
off.
I
Yeah.
see.
So in other place before you coming home.
But we didn't really do that, did we?
We did. Remember when we
Well,
went to Papa Tony's and then we went to Chinese food?
no, but I mean in the Philippines.
Oh, in Philippines?
Like I know the day of the funeral we did, but I'm
Oh,
talking about like the viewing when you would go to the viewing and then come home.
yeah,
Like
we
we
don't.
didn't we
We
didn't go
didn't
anywhere
because it's
else.
really night.
Yeah,
We
yeah, it was
stay,
late.
hang out, and where you gonna go? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that's where we'll drop this episode for today. We've been talking about some of the uh, superstitions and customs and habits and things that we've picked up from each other's cultures. I'm sure there's lots of people that are in cross-cultural relationships that have other things that they could share. So you can drop us an email at canapino25@gmail.com. That's CANAPINO25@gmail.com. And tell us your stories. Tell us about your cultures or the things that you've found challenging or different about each other's cultures. And we'll share those on one of our upcoming episodes. But in the meantime, thank you so much for downloading the episode. We appreciate it. Thank you to my lovely wife, my dear.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for listening to us very patiently. Magandang hapon po uli and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thanks. Have a great day.